The history of a country changes, but often the paintings and sculptures do not change. They continue to stand, to hang on walls, as silent witnesses to the past and the narratives around them. Those who maintain these items take care of them, manage them, fill them with meanings, and that's what they stand for until history changes again and they will represent something else. As it turns out, I come from a family of artists and musicians, so art and paintings and sculptures matters to us. I've been sketching and painting since as long as I could remember, for as young as I could remember. From the time when I was a little girl preparing oil paints for my grandpa, I knew this was to be my destiny. My grandfather was one of China's most prominent artists and architects during his time. He co-founded Beijing Central Fine Arts Academy Institutes in China, and he was the driving force behind the creation of Nanking Theater, now Shanghai Concert Hall, and also behind the creation of Beijing Fine Arts Museum. He contributed sculptures to Beijing City Hall, and he served as a tenure professor at Beijing Central Academy of Fine Arts. He had studied Renaissance arts and Western art history in France during the late 1930s while he was a very, very young man. Therefore, in China during the 40s, my grandfather read and wrote English at home, counted foreigners among his friends, and kept Millet Vendée chairs in his living room. My grandpa's family were the privileged minority. He worked to prepare his children for lives as doctors, architects, engineers, at a time when China was mired in a civil war and poverty. When I was young, he used to rant against what Mao did to China and by extension to my grandpa. He said Mao was not just against the capitalist. He burned the ancient classics and books that defined our civilization. He took away freedom of speech, and he launched the Cultural Revolution that killed 500,000 of his own people.
So, as you're going forward, are you planning to go back to China? Planning of traveling or help your grandpa? Carry on the family artistic tradition, to keep contributing to Chinese art, fine arts. Any thoughts?
I'm very used to the lifestyle here already. I've been here since I was very young, early teenager. So I believe that I will eventually go back. And that's not a question. The question is when. So I haven't exactly made up my mind yet on that. And in the case of whether or not to continue the legacy in China, we actually have a number of institutes. My father has business and schools in China. And so far we're only concentrating on making the classical art flourish in Canada, because I've noticed that the school here, especially in fine arts school, they concentrate more on the commercial part of not exactly on classical art.
Do you know what kind of expectations from your father had for you? Does he want you to how to carry on the tradition
I was actually raised in a very different way compared to the majority of the children in China. He's always wanted me to have a westernized education, so I grew up with Caucasian teachers around me. So that was a very different experience. As if to his expectations, he wanted me to be happy and receive a Western education. And so far, I think I have pretty much accomplished two, both of them. So, yeah, pretty much. And if he ever wants me to go back to China and help him, I would. Because after all, I'm the next generation. I'm supposed to fulfill whatever that he hasn't accomplished.
Indeed.